So it seems like the state of New York is going to do another round of, hey, we love the Canadians and we got to market to them.
How New York is a welcoming destination for our Canadian neighbors. I think that that message needs to be reinforced with the various kinds of tourism marketing that the state does.
So if you're in Ontario or Quebec, I guess just be prepared for more marketing material to come your way. Because despite the news being focused on the Middle East, the gas prices, and Pam Bondi being fired, it's about freaking time. But they still got a bigger problem besides these three things. And that problem is this: empty tables and empty shops where Canadians used to spend their hard-earned money, and the United States businesses used to take it for granted. So in this video, I'm going to explain how Western New York, as well as the North Country, are starting to realize again that they're going to be in trouble this year. And their solution for it? More marketing. Yay. So let's get to the first report.
Meanwhile, here at home, tariffs are still raising concerns in the North Country. The region depends heavily on cross-border travel and trade with Canada. NBC5's Blake McQuarrie is live in our Plattsburgh newsroom with some newly released information for New York State. Blake.
Yeah, Lauren, the U.S. and Canada border is a lifeline for the local economy. Local leaders are saying rising prices continue to create uncertainty for businesses that rely on international visitors and imports.
14 months into this whole thing, you would have thought that the United States would start to realize, hey, maybe it's not the tariffs. Maybe it's something else. I mean, to me, this feels like being in an abusive relationship where the other person is like verbally abusive, physically abusive, gaslighting, everything all of the above. And when you tell them the reason why you're upset, like all of this different stuff, they reply back and say, no, I think you're mad because I took the last beer from the fridge. And this is not by experience. I mean, I'm just trying to make an analogy here. But the fact that we're 14 months into this and they're still clueless, I don't know about everybody watching this video, but it just refuels my boycott.
There's a tremendous amount of uncertainty for New York businesses to be able to plan for the coming for this calendar year that we're already in.
The New York State Comptroller's office says travel from Canada fell by more than 21% in 2025, a decrease of nearly 3.6 million visitors.
There are significant economic impacts from that because these folks come, they spend a lot of money, they support our industries and employment in food and accommodation and hotels and all kinds of industry.
So in other words, we are valuable just to the wallets, right? Because after 14 months, there's definitely a pattern here. It's all about trying to figure out how to support the United States. There were a lot of jobs that were lost in Canada as well. I haven't heard any of these US businesses say, hey, maybe we should start helping Canada.
And it leaves local businesses in limbo.
That tells the story of uncertainty. Uncertainty is the biggest impact around tariffs, particularly in the U.S.-Canadian dimension. Business can't make decisions in the face of uncertainty.
And North Country Chamber of Commerce President Gary Douglas says higher prices make it harder for local industries who rely on cross-border business to stay competitive.
I know of at least 3 situations that I can't identify of international manufacturers here in Plattsburgh who by this time last year would have been announcing expansions.
Oh no, that's so sad. Anyways, my question for you, Mr. North County Chamber of Commerce guy, is what have you actually learned over the last 14 months? Have you actually listened to anybody that contributes to your economy, to your tax revenue, and blindly stayed loyal to your country for some reason? I say blindly because I was blind. I know a lot of us were as well, but I think we're awake now. So when it comes to like these businesses that aren't able to expand, yeah, sorry about that.
North Country officials continue to reinforce the bond between the border communities.
We keep emphasizing that. We're continuing to engage in special messaging to show our respect and our recognition of how special Canadians are to us and have been to the U.S. We'll continue to do that.
Now, I've never been to the North Country, but I know a lot of our viewers probably have visited in the past. But let me ask a question. What do you feel when you hear his speech? Because in my opinion, and this is just me, but it feels hollow, shallow, and fake. Because unless they understand the real reason why we're not coming to the United States to fund their tax revenue and spend money in their country, nothing they say is going to matter to me. It's almost been a year since I posted my first video, and I must have watched at least maybe 500, 700, maybe even 1,000 different reports. And in every report, except for a small handful of them, they all have one common thing. Obviously, they blame it on the tariffs, or the exchange rate, or anything else. And almost all of them never consider what's going on in Canada, the disrespect that we're getting, why we're actually pissed off. I want to show everybody a clip from last year. It's one of the few that actually pointed out the actual reasons why Canadians are not visiting.
Fisher says in conversations with Canadian members and visitors, they point to concerns about the border crossing and recent rhetoric from the White House as the key reasons they've stopped visiting.
The conversations about the 51st state and not respecting Canadian sovereignty is the other piece of it, and that seems to be more of an economic boycott. We just don't want to go spend our hard-earned dollars in a country that doesn't respect us.
Now for me, if I heard this more often from the US media and even the business owners, I might change my tone just a little bit. That's not going to stop my boycott, but my tone would change. But again, that's not the case. And we're 14 months into this. And we have a new spring and summer season coming up. And unfortunately, Western New York is also going to be saying the same things again, blaming it on the tariffs. Now, before I get to the next report, I would like to thank one of our Discord users with the username Ship for taking this photo of the Queen's Battery on Signal Hill in Newfoundland and Labrador. I'll definitely be adding this to the list of places to visit if I ever get around to doing an East Coast Canada trip. So thank you, Ship, for posting this in the Discord server. Okay, let's move on to the next report out of Western New York.
Well, the New York State Comptroller is sounding the alarm tonight about a dramatic drop in Canadian tourism here in parts of the state that border the country, including right here in the Western New York region. 2 News Side's Chelsea Swift joins us live from the newsroom after speaking with the State Comptroller, who claims the Trump administration's tariffs are playing a big role. Chelsea, what's this all about?
Scott, a new report from the State Comptroller's office claims tariffs and other federal policies like immigration restrictions are having a big economic impact across the state.
I think the impact is more dramatically felt in Western New York and in the North Country.
The State Comptroller's office is reporting that New York had one of the steepest drops of any state in international tourism overall last year. The report states that border travel from Canada fell by more than 21%. In Western New York, hotel occupancy fell 1.2%, and employment trends in tourism-related businesses were down 2%.
That means less money being spent. That translates into fewer jobs, particularly in hospitality and entertainment and retail.
Hospitality, entertainment, and retail. I want to ask you a question, Mr. Comptroller guy. But how many business owners in these sectors that you just listed out may have actually voted for the orange guy? And how many staff in these businesses might have done that as well? Now, I know New York is a blue state, but there's still going to be plenty of Republicans in that state. More specifically, about 3.7 million of them. But out of that 3.7 million, how many of them probably own businesses? Or how many were staff of these businesses that are struggling right now? Because unfortunately, I don't have any sympathy for them. Western New York, along with the rest of the United States, has an internal problem. And until this internal problem is fixed, I don't think any Canadians or even international tourists are going to come back anytime soon.
Those were sectors of our economy that were still struggling to fully recover from COVID. So this kind of puts us back a bit.
The president of the Aquarium of Niagara says there was a 30% drop in Canadian visitation from 2024 to 2025. He says business started to suffer in February of last year.
We've been following it month to month since. We've trended down here across the entirety of the last year. So we've done what we can to try to bring back into the building as many guests as possible. It's not just things like Canadian tourism that are down. We're kind of down across the board.
The comptroller says he believes cross-border relations can be improved.
The state continuing to send a positive message about how New York is a welcoming destination for our Canadian neighbors. I think that that message needs to be reinforced with the various kinds of tourism marketing that the state does.
No, it's not marketing at all. I mean, you stop with the marketing. The more you do marketing, the more it actually pisses us off. I mean, hey, if you want to waste your money, go ahead. But maybe one day, start listening to the people from the north.
Destination Niagara, our destination marketing organization, has done a phenomenal job, as has Visit Buffalo down in Buffalo, in trying to extend this idea that New York loves Canada. That was the promotion that we held on Canada Day. So we have all very much been rallying together and working as a united front.
We reached out to the White House for comment. A spokesperson claimed the tariffs have actually been good for business across the country. You can read the full response on our website, WGRZ.com.
Now, of course, the White House is going to say that, and it's foolish of your viewers if they actually believe it. But what I really want to emphasize on is that we're 14 months into this, and they're still acting like they have no idea what's going on. Well, it's a good thing the rest of the world knows what's going on. And let me read out some of the stuff that has gone on since the orange guy took office. There's mass ICE raids hitting everywhere in the United States. There's border issues by land and air, where people are getting detained if they have the proper documentation. You got the unfair tariffs that he's throwing around the world. A sharp decline in international tourism because of all of this. And not only that, but the US aviation industry isn't really too safe right now. But most of all, you got your president that's abusing his executive powers. And this next one here is my own opinion, but I'm pretty sure some people will agree with it. I don't want to have anything to do with a country that voted this fascist president into the office. So you can go ahead and gather the other border towns and sing Kumbaya and make marketing reports and, promotions, but that's not going to do anything. You might as well just save your money. Okay, that's all I got for this video. If you found any value or agree with anything I said, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international perspective without the US media bias, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below. That way you're notified of my future videos. And if you want to see more of my videos, check out the ones that'll show up on your screen shortly. Thanks everyone. I'll catch you in the next one.